We are currently at a fantasy football crossroads, especially with what happened last night. It's not a good look. Austin Ekeler might, or more than likely, tore his Achilles, more than likely out for the season. But now we're looking at Jacory Croskey-Merritt. He's getting a lot of buzz. Is he the next man up? Is he a player we're going to have to wait on a little bit? Or is he going to fizzle out? So we're going to have to look at the good, the bad, the ugly with this deep dive. Look at the advanced analytics. Try and figure out this team as we get deeper into the season. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives every single day. Looking at these players and what they're doing behind the scenes. We're also doing player rankings and looking at the matchups to help you set your lineups. And we're going very deep off the waiver wire, deeper than any YouTube channel out there. Click that button. Stop missing out. But Austin Ekeler, he's going to undergo an MRI. We'll see if he torn that Achilles, or maybe if we're lucky, he's back. Because we do not want this to be the end of his career. We do not. But it did not look good last night, the way he came off the field. I got that. We covered it here on the channel. Go check that video out. But Austin Ekeler, if anything, he's going to be out for some time. And it could be for a long time. And everybody's looking at Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Remember, the buzz really intensified when they traded Brian Robinson Jr. Now they could be out both veteran running backs for the season. And everybody looked at Jacory Croskey-Merritt as the next Alfred Morris. But Alfred Morris, a different beast. And maybe everybody got their hopes up too high. But you're looking at Jacory Croskey-Merritt, week 1, 14.2 PPR fantasy points. 82 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 target. But the one thing you want to look at is he only was in on 33% of the snaps. Last night, he was only in on 22% of the snaps. 1.7 PPR fantasy points. You can call it up to a rough matchup against the Packers. A game script that did not go his way. But on top of that, that's still just 22% of the snaps. And we have some matchups coming up. And now we're looking at this offense here. And how are they going to change going forward with Jacory Croskey-Merritt? So really, we're at a crossroads even when we're looking at this. Because you look at week 1, he hit. He was productive. He had the long run, 8.2 yards per carry. Everything's looking good. But then you look at week 1, you're like, that's snap share. Then you add it in with week 2, and you can make the story like, hey, it's the Packers D. They weren't looking good against the Packers. Obviously, I'm buying in. But you go to this other side here, you're like, 22% snap share. Ekeler comes out. Jeremy McNichols comes in. Now you're looking at Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Old Bill here. Like, what's up with this? Is this something that's coming up right now? Let me know what you think in the comments below. You're looking at the opportunity share from week 1. 37.5 versus 45.8 with Jacory Croskey-Merritt. And you're also looking at the route participation rate. 54% Austin Ekeler. 15% Jeremy McNichols. Jacory Croskey-Merritt had 18%, but that changed last night. You're looking at the routes ran in the first 2 games. Terry McLaurin's leading everybody. Austin Ekeler has ran 40 routes. Jacory Croskey-Merritt in 2 games has ran just 16 routes, so he's averaging 8 routes per game. They do not have Jeremy McNichols listed here, but going back to week 1, looking at the advanced analytics, perplayerprofiler.com, 14th in evaded tackles, 11th in yards created per touch, faced 0 stacked boxes. So that could have been one of the reasons why we had that big run and those good opportunities. Opportunities share 34th among running backs. And looking at Jeremy McNichols and Jacory Croskey-Merritt side by side, snap by snap here, McNichols is getting work. He's getting opportunities. He ran 12 routes last night. McNichols did not run as many routes last night. He ran 9. That being said, McNichols was getting some work in the passing game. So he's going to be getting some work with Ekeler out. He might be getting more of that Ekeler work. And Croskey-Merritt might be staying the same. Maybe a little bit more touches. But one thing's for sure, he was not out there that much in the first 2 games. He was a 0-star prospect coming out of high school, having to start off at Alabama State. But we make our way to New Mexico, rushing for 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns, then transferring to Arizona, but we catch eligibility issues there, missing pretty much our 2024 season. but a decorated career, averaging 3.24 yards after contact per attempt on our career and getting some work in the passing game. We blew up on some schools, Utah State, Fresno State, not a murderer's row, but we do have it in our prospect profile to be dominant. And remember, we had eligibility issues. So if we would have played the full 2024 season, he could have got drafted a lot higher. We wouldn't be in the situation because he would have had another year of stacked production. But we get to the Shrine Game, and we're the MVP. We killed it in the practices. We looked good. After all that time off, we did not lose the speed to the game or anything like that. We looked solid in the All-Star Game circuit, and we come to our size-adjusted athleticism. We're doing pretty good. 4.52 40-yard dash at 206 pounds. We fall to the late 7th round, one of the last picks of the draft, to the Washington Commanders. Honestly, the odds are against him getting to this far. Most running backs who are drafted in the 7th round do not make it this far. They are lucky to be a third-string running back. Most running backs with that draft capital who did not play that final year of their career do not make it this far. The odds are so stacked against them to become the next great running back. You're looking at the depth chart. You got Jeremy McNichols. You got Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Austin Ekeler, we got him X'd out. Brian Robinson, he is X'd out. Chris Rodriguez, they forgot about him. This guy's got good vision. He looked good in preseason. And this is a running back that can take on a lot of work. He killed it in SEC. He was a late-round prospect, just like Jacory Croskey-Merritt, and he could be taking some touches. Like, he was solid. He might be your next big pickup off the waiver wire here soon. Jeremy McNichols is a proven commodity in this offense that they could hit on any given Sunday, anybody in this backfield, with how potent this offense can be. And at one time, he was a decorated late-round prospect. That was a while ago. You started to earn more work with the Washington Commanders, and you got to remember that Jacory Croskey-Merritt might be just in his ramp-up time. Jahmyr Gibbs needed it. Devin Chin had a small one. A lot of rookies just need a few weeks to ramp up, get more involved into the system, get more trust with the coaches, get acclimated to the speed of the game. So he could take off. That's the thing about this. Like, we're seeing these numbers. It's a small sample. It's also early. Those numbers that we're looking at could lead us to the right or wrong direction, whatever fork we are choosing. But what fork are you choosing? You picking them up or not? Because we're looking at what this backfield did last year, and considering how potent this offense was, it wasn't too great. Great yards per carry wise, I guess 4.8, 4.3, 4.7, 4.9 with all the running backs. But still nothing that stands out for a highly potent offense. They were getting it done through the air. Brian Robinson gone, Ekeler gone, McNichols and Rodriguez still stands. So why you need him is it's an upside talent. The situation's opening up. But why you don't need him, he's a huge risk. They could bring in another running back. There are some cheap veterans out there, like, say, Jerome Ford on the Cleveland Browns. They can get him on the cheap as a patch-up if they want to. There are some cheap patch-up running backs out there that they could bring in for trade off the cheap, or even a veteran that's just sitting there just to see what they can get out of them that could bring in some competition. They could also just use McNichols more. They could use Rodriguez more. They could just make this a three-headed backfield. They could do that. They could just throw it more. But also the risk is, too, completely ignoring Jacory Croskey-Merritt. So what's the strategy here? For me, I'm going to kick the tires, see what comes back at me. It really depends on your league, because nothing may not come back at you. But the big thing about him was that he was so cheap in leagues that no matter what, he's a free square, or was a free square. And if he gains value, that also gave you the option to ship him away. I'm expecting some buzz if something happens to Austin Ekeler. If that MRI result comes bad, then we're going to get some buzz here that's going to be good for his stock, Jacory Croskey-Merritt. That being said, that's going to give you an opportunity to kick the tires, see what comes back at you. You could do a lateral move if you're scared, or if you're playing stock market, you're shooting up, packaging him and maybe a wide receiver to see if you can get to a running back that you like. You're not going to get to the studs. You're not going to move off a stud to go to Jacory Croskey-Merritt and a scab wide receiver, a wide receiver 2 or 3. You're going to have to deal a stud wide receiver and him to get to a stud running back. And now you're thinking Dynasty Fantasy Football, and it's the same question. You sell now, get that second if you can, but it may not be as liquid or as fluid now as it was a few weeks ago. Or you hold, hoping that he gets more work and opportunity, and that stock bounces higher, and you get him for a first-round pick. Or you hold and you just reap the rewards of being right on a player and getting the fantasy points. You're looking at daily fantasy football. The price is never going to be cheap compared to the snaps he's getting. He's really overpriced per snap because he's not getting as many snaps per the dollars that he's going to be at on DraftKings, because people are going to bid him up, and that's going to log jam some of those rosters. So you're looking at some of the other running backs. Jeremy McNichols is getting work in the passing game. He might hold some value in fantasy football. He's got an RB1 week to his name. Chris Rodriguez has some good weeks to his name. There's potential in this backfield, and he's got potential to be the man in this backfield if they just let him cook and get enough snaps, and maybe that's what they need to do. I'm going to kick the tires, but if nothing comes back I like, I'm just going to stash and see what happens. That is ultimately the answer here. It's not buy, sell, hold, trade, because you got to get the value back. If you don't get the value back, you're standing still. But if you never kick the tires, you never know what deal's going to come your way anyways, and you could have got the deal that got you over the top, even if he does hit. That's the thing about that. I suggest kicking the tires when or if you see that Austin Ekeler news about the MRI and it's bad. See what comes back at you, react off that, and make your move. But I would be active in this scenario. Not just straight up hold, not straight up buy, not straight up sell. Kick the tires, see what comes at you, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you hold. If you do like it, move on. Do it. That's all. That's it. I think that's easy, point blank. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.